Okay. So I think we are live. If anybody's watching, oh, there we go. If people are watching, can you let us know if you can hear us okay, please? If the sound's coming through all right. Hello, Gregory.
Can you hear us, Gregory?
How's our sound?
If you can see.
Good evening from rainy Glasgow.
John Brady, can you hear us? Can you let us know, please, if you can?
We can hear you. There we go.
Brilliant. Falchingoo Academy Uskabet. Welcome to the Islay Whisky Academy. First IWA live stream brought to you from the Gaelic College outside Beaumont on a rainy Wednesday night, I think it is. So we're delighted to be here because this is our diploma week and we have our students with us. Woo! That's the bad ones making the noise. The quiet ones are being studious.
That's the ones that have had too many drams today.
Yes. Good evening, Jens from Germany. Good evening, Gregory. And John Brady, good evening. It's great that you're there.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone.
Indeed.
So we're going to be doing more of these going forward. This is something we want to maybe make like a sort of monthly event, maybe these kind of live streams. They won't always be from here. We're actually at the Gaelic College just now. Sometimes I'll be back in Glasgow. Rachel will be in Islay. We'll do it sort of remotely. But yeah, we're going to be doing it going forward. But this one, we're really lucky we're actually live. But before we kind of go on, for anybody that doesn't know, Rachel, do you maybe want to give us a sort of introduction to the Academy and what it's all about?
Certainly. So I'm Rachel McNeil. I'm from Islay. And I am the founder of the Islay Whisky Academy. The Islay Whisky Academy is a place where people can learn about Scotch in context. So we offer an online course called Whisky Affinity, which you can purchase off the website and you download it. And when you become a student of the online course, we invite you to join us in our kinship. And our kinship is an online group at the moment, but it'll go into other platforms. But it's ably hosted by Neil Murphy here. Neil Murphy is from Paisleyshire, Glasgowshire.
I was born in Paisley. I live in Glasgow now, yeah. And yeah, I sort of fell in love with whiskey about 10 years ago, but maybe a wee bit longer now. I've lost track. But
it's not that many jobs.
Yeah. But Islay always really appealed to me. You know, the big strong Islay character from here really sort of.
Andy likes the whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know, I fell in love with Islay quite early on in my journey of whiskey. You know, so being involved with this is a real treat for me, really. So just here to learn all about it.
Good evening, David Manson and Gregory. Thank you very much. And very good it is and good to be part of. Thank you very much for that. I wanted to tell you as well that Neil also writes his own fantastic whiskey blog website called Whisky Reviews, and he is consistently good at producing content. It's interesting reviews. He's also tells you maybe a bit about the distillery, a bit about history, and then he goes on to a really good review of the dram. So you know, you can check out Neil's website or blog independently. So it's whiskyreviews.net. I think, right. Neil, is that right?
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for the plug. Yeah, yeah. I like to try and find a wee sort of story to talk about as well as just reviewing a whiskey. It's trying to find something else interesting.
Scotch in context.
In the back. Yeah, absolutely.
Scotch in context.
It's not just about the whiskey. I think we all invest so much more into whiskey than just smell and taste. You know, it's all about our experiences, our emotions, and the stories that go around it. You know, those all enrich the experience we have of drinking a whiskey. You know.
Well, definitely, because if you just drink it like a thing, a satellite in space, I mean, you're enjoying it on a sensate level, but that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you know, so if you connect to it, or if you know who it's from, or you're engaged with it, or you've got memories from when you had it the first time, and you bring these associations, or if you're making new memories, new experiences, and I tell you something else, well, you all know, smell takes you back instantly. So when you smell something, it takes you back to the place instantly. It's not that you remember it and you go sitting here, you are taken back when you smell something. Just takes you back to your childhood. You're back in that place. So that's one of the exciting things about whisky, right enough, isn't it?
Yeah, I think what's so great about things like the Academy as well, and even just visiting distilleries in general, you know, it adds to the whole experience. It's not just about the experience while you're at the distillery. It's the experience that you have going forward. So the next time, say, you know, you visit Bunnahabhain, say, the next time you have a dram of Bunnahabhain, you can be anywhere in the world, but you'll recall the sensations of being there, and the smells, and the you know, the air you breathed, and the, you know, the rain on your face and the wind in the air. That will all become part of the experience the next time you have one. Instead of it just being smell and taste, it will be, you know, a whole sensory memory for you. You know, it enriches everything when you come and do things like this. You know, it's easy to fall in love with any whiskey brand, but I think it adds a whole new layer to it once you've been and visited the place it was made. You know.
Yes, and also, I think I've spoken about this before. It's a true story that Jim McEwen told me when he used to years and years ago, when Suntory bought Bowmore, and McEwen was a lot over in the Far East. And that was in the days when we didn't have mobile phones. You know, it wasn't easy to get back home, and there wasn't computers. He couldn't, you know, he was away over there by himself, and it was very difficult because it's a huge culture shock. And I know myself, when I was in China, you had 2 days traveling and then 1 day rest to kind of get yourself back together again, you know. Mm-hmm. And what McEwen would do is, Jim McEwen, what he would do is he would go to an hotel, the hotel that he was staying in, and probably the only dram he could get there would be a Lafroig. But Lafroig is so pungent and so, it's like epitomises Islay in a way. He would order that, take it up to his room, and just sit and smell the dram, and it would take him home, and it would revitalise him.
Yeah, very much so.
Because he would be very homesick.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think, you know, once I was in. My wife and I visited New York, and we went to Kings County Distillery in Brooklyn.
Oh, cool.
And it was a cool wee place, but they had a bourbon which was made with, if I remember right, 75% corn, but 25% peated malted barley from Scotland. Okay. You know, so like here in this distillery in the middle of Brooklyn, you catch this wee whiff of peat, and all of a sudden you're back in Scotland. You know, it was like a real trigger for a memory of home. You know, it was strange, but yeah, that it's so much more than a drink. It kind of gets under your skin, you know.
So the point of today's or tonight is kind of show, don't really know what you would call this, is we wanted to talk a wee bit about education, because obviously that's what the diploma is. So I wanted to share with you what we're trying to do at the diploma. We want people to, we would like people to be more, to think about Scotland and to be more connected through coming on this course or being engaged with a diploma, because we want people to think about the beginnings of whisky, but I would like also for people to think about education, because nowadays we're seeing a huge rise of world whiskies. Now that's fine, but the same thing happened to French wine maybe about 30 years ago, and people that before then, you know, French wine was the only kind of wine, whereas now We take it for granted. We've got South African wine, you know, we've got Argentinian wine, Australian wine, and nobody really holds French wine just quite at the pinnacle that they used to. And I'm concerned about Scotch. Well, I'm not, of course I'm not concerned about Scotch, but I want us to be very aware of the education and the heritage of Scotland, because we cannot be complacent about New World whiskies. Of course, Scotch whisky is the best. I think our whisky is the best, but we need to teach people about our whisky, and we need to cement it and keep it in their minds and connect the calibre and quality and how we're the heart of Scotch whisky. And I think education is the way forward, teaching people about our country, our culture, and our whisky as intrinsically coming out of that, because people, you know, it's with they're using their wallets, and differences are happening by the buying choices that people are making, and we want to keep them connected to Scotch and Scotland and feel we want them to love it, to feel a community, and the only way you can do that is by building a relationship. And the volume 1 of the online course is called Courting the Dram, and we feel that this is I feel that this is very important, and I think it's a very important thing for the Scotch industry to be thinking about. But I think that people are starting to think about that, Neil.
I think so, yeah. I mean, again, you mentioned it there yourself. One of the things I really like about how you've set all this up is it's not just about, we think Scotch whisky is great, but it's about exploring what makes it unique, because there's fantastic whisky from all over the world now.
Yes,
you know.
But what makes it unique? That's brilliant.
What makes Scotch whisky so unique? And as you say, that it's a product of the land, the people, the culture. And it's nice to explore all that a wee bit, because that, you know, like Swedish whisky, for example, will be a product of that place, you know, and different cultures will go into it. It will be inspired by Scotch whisky, but they'll do their own thing. So what is it that we are doing that's our own thing, and how did culture impact on that? You know, I think that's really important to explore, you know.
And what is it that inspired all these other places to make whisky? Because, you know, they're inspired. So we need to pay attention to ourselves, and we need to think about the stuff we've been taking. I don't mean for granted, but for granted means that you don't care. I don't know what other word you would use, but it's as though we've been.
I think there isn't, a bit of complacency maybe within the industry, that they just kind of assume it's going to be fine, and Scotch is always going to be so well regarded.
Yes.
You know, but you worry sometimes with some big corporations and things that they might, you know, if Scotch ever does take a dip in popularity, it's very easy just to go, oh, well, Irish is the big thing now. So we just
move your company.
And that's, you know, we just mothball and move over to Ireland now, you know.
So we need to keep. You
need to be aware of that, I think, and keep flying the flag, basically. You know, there's a lack, I think, in Scotland. There's a lack of flying the flag for just Scotch whisky, you know, and as opposed to everything's brand driven. You know, you've got brand ambassadors, and you know, nobody's just I'm an ambassador for Scotch whisky.
Because
you know,
yes, exactly.
That's what I think the Academy kind of wants to be. It's about pushing the thing of Scotch whisky, instead of just we promote Lafroig, we promote Lagavulin, we promote Glenfiddich. There needs to be something that covers all of it, you know, and sings the praises of all of it. You know,
that's what I'm trying to do, and I see it now with the rise of Irish whisky, which I like, the Celtic Cousins. But I see it on Twitter, the camaraderie between the Irish people that's involved in the industry, and the crack and the club that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and they're industry people, that's not the fans and the drinkers. And I think that in Scotch whisky, that's what we need. We need a pride in Scotch whisky, not a pride in a brand that might be based outside the country.
Yep.
You know, I think people love the crack of Ireland, but they love the crack of Scotland as well.
Mm-hmm. There's a really good question here coming from Gregory Mumford. Do you think some distilleries are shooting themselves in the foot by focusing on whisky as a collector's item rather than the quality of the product? There is so much history that is missed. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw it. There's a very well-known whisky brand, a single malt brand, probably the most well-known and they've just launched a new series of bottlings, I think. Now, I need to try and get this right. It sort of ties into cryptocurrency and stuff, where people can now buy a digital token of ownership to say that they own this whiskey. So the whiskey is something like 46 years old, but it's going to sit in a warehouse, and then investors are going to buy a digital token of ownership and trade that amongst each other while the whiskey sits in a warehouse somewhere.
Oh my God.
And it just, what a bizarre situation we've got into.
How do they know that it's not cold tea?
Well, I know, and somebody, assuming it's genuine, somebody has crafted this product for 45 years for it to just sit dead in a cupboard somewhere, it's the mind boggles. But one thing that annoys me a lot, actually, is there's a lot of the press you see, like whenever whiskey is mentioned in a sort of mainstream newspaper or something, it always focuses on auction prices or this new collector's bottle. It's always the sort of premium end that gets all the chat, and I think that is a shame. I think we should be focusing on the stuff people drink. That's where the real quality is, really, or at least that's where people actually get to experience it, The
living aspect of whiskey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm hearing a lot of noise from the corner here, so I'm going to bring our first student. Would you like to come and have a wee chat with us? This is
Pull a wee chair over.
We'll pull a wee chair over for you. Come into the body of the kirk. So we'd like to introduce you to Cerys. This is Cerys, all the way from Wales, another Celtic cousin.
Shemai.
who speaks her own language fluently, which is a very good thing, because in Islay a lot of us are of the lost generation, and we kind of relearning.
Trying to pick it up again, yeah.
There's similar problems, isn't it? Because in both Wales and Scotland, there would be attempts to kind of suppress and get rid of the language, and I think over generations. But an uptake in both languages now, I think, more and more people want.
Very encouraging, very encouraging. So, what's in your glass, Cerys? What are you drumming there?
The Finlagan.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Looks very golden. We have a wee nose. What you need to tell them your tasting notes.
Pressure.
I
was going to ask, what sort of made you come to Islay then? What brought you?
Well, I think just kind of for me, my sort of, I suppose going back to when I first started drinking whiskey is more kind of me being a teenager and sort of stealing bits from my dad's kind of stocks of blends. But I think trying an Ardbeg 10 for the first time is what really made me kind of fall in love with whiskey and went straight into the peat.
Right in at the deep end, yeah.
But I find that in a lot of women drinkers, they start off because they've drank a Lafroig or drank an Ardbeg. It's a fallacy that women like a light sweet whiskey. Utter fallacy, because a lot of women have got a salty palate, so they're attracted to the peat and the heavy dram. No, so it was an Ardbeg that brought you to it.
It was.
And what brought you to the academy?
Well, I just really loved the approach of the academy, of all kind of the context around the whiskey making, not just kind of the whiskey itself, but everything that goes into it, the community around it, and just everything you teach about the energy that goes through the process.
Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you very much. So what's your favourite thing that you've learned so far? So what did we have on Monday? We had
the process.
The process, that's right. The energy of the process, and then we had visit to Lafroig. Oh, the peat cutting.
The peat cutting was great.
Yes.
I cut more peat than I thought I'd physically.
Yes, she was brilliant. Brilliant. Yes, that's right.
Looking to find a peat bog in Wales now.
Yes, that's it.
She's been a wee bit. I think they're struggling to hear you a wee bit. Sorry.
She's fine. Excuse me, the rabble at the back. The audience here can't hear Cerys because of all you know. They've had to pop a notice. So did you hear that she was doing peat cutting? Did you? Yes.
Yeah.
And what else did we do on Tuesday? Tuesday we did yeast and copper,
and then the geology, that was really
and the geology, that's right. And then we went to Kilchoman.
Yes, yeah.
Where Kilchoman, now this is interesting because before we only thought of Bruichladdich doing this, but so Bruichladdich used to give the students a taste of all the different new makes made out of the different barley varieties and where they were growing. But Kilchoman did that for us yesterday.
Okay,
so all grown in Kilchoman area, but there was Sassy, new variety, Concerto, which is I think maybe not going to be so popular going forward, and Diablo.
Excellent.
And the complete, like all distilled the same, but then Robin said that they had to change the 4 shots run because these barley varieties were so different that the 4 shots had to be changed from, was it from 4, they did it from 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's,
I can't quite remember.
Yeah,
I'll have written it down somewhere. But it's very
No,
interesting.
it was. And yeah, to taste them and to taste that difference in the new make was really, really interesting. It's not something I've really been able to do before. So,
Good.
Yeah, that was.
So in Gaelic, that's called Anam and Yerin. In the French, that's the terroir. But in Gaelic, it's Anam and Yerin. Anam, the soul, and Yerin, of the land. And the interesting thing is that you've got to call it, so that's land that's worked, that's not wild land, because it wouldn't be terroir if it was wild land, because for it to be the concept of terroir, it's got to include the human.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
So you can't, so, it's pointless having it, because it's barley that's just growing wild. The human has to be included. So that's why it's in Yerin. The language is the worked land. So the Gaelic name. So by that word that it's worked land. Whereas there's Gaelic for other land, but it's unworked. But that's why it's got to be.
Tamara saying she did a virtual Kilchoman tasting when you make using different barley varieties. So it sounds very similar.
Yes, Tamara, it was brilliant.
It was really, it told you so much about the importance of the new make. And then when we did the warehouse tasting, seeing how the new make profile worked with different types of casks as well.
Yes, that's a big interest to you. Keris always likes to ask them about what casks they're doing. That's what unusual things, aren't they?
Yeah, just because it's interesting to see how the different kind of goals with like all the things that go into the process to make a certain kind of new make profile, and then how different casks that are maybe slightly unusual, like something like the tequila, for example, in Kilchoman, actually works really well. But Robin was saying that maybe like the white wine doesn't work quite as well with their new make, for example.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's
always
interesting
which ones.
Sometimes parents that you think would work really well don't seem to work, Okay.
Was there anything there?
I don't think. I was just going to ask, so would you recommend us?
I didn't say she would have a case of whiskey for saying that. She said yes, and we're on the board.
No, genuinely, definitely. It's been an incredible start.
Great. Well, you're only halfway through.
I'm really enjoying the online course as well.
Brilliant.
I think it's something to kind of get started if people aren't able to come over straight away. I'm sure they will after doing it. But the online course gives you a really good idea of kind of the Scotch in context and everything. So.
Thank you very much, Keris. She's been a very good guest. Who else would like to come and tell us about themselves, Donna?
Make sure she doesn't have a face full of truffle.
No, understand it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Slange, yes.
Yaki da.
Yaki da. Is that what you say? Is that slange?
That's slange.
Okay, right. Well, that's slange. Yaki da.
Just because Keris kind of mentioned it for us there, what about if people aren't able to make it over to Islay then? If people aren't able to make it to the academy?
Oh, so we've got our online course.
Keris very kindly mentioned it for us there,
So it's called Courting the Dram, and well, volume 1 is called Courting the Dram,
Yes,
but the whole course is called Whisky Affinity, and the volume 1 Courting the Dram is about the person and the whisky.
Yes.
And I've just finished the first draft of volume 2 come in, Donna, which is called Alchemy of Distilling, and that is about production and the magic of it and the energy of it.
Jens is asking.
Oh, Jens, it should be out next month. I said that I would. I said to the printers, "Oh, I'll do 3 a year." I've done 1 a year. So Donna's brought a brilliant pairing for us. So this is lovely truffles. Can you see? Lovely truffles to go with the Port Charlotte 10. So how does that?
Oh, I haven't tasted it yet.
So Donna's an Islay honorary Islay because she's been here that much, haven't
Can't get rid of her.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I just keep coming back like a bad penny. I kind of rushed that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
she just did that, so she had to take another sip to give us tasting notes.
Oh, tasting notes. Oh.
So Donna,
Yes.
tell us what made you want to come to the academy?
Basically, to learn more, get more involved, deeper learning about whiskey. I mean, I drink a fair amount of it, and I watch a lot of things on social media about whiskey and people who do tasting notes. Like,
Oh, there you are.
Gentleman
He's
here.
famous. He's famous. More famous. Infamous.
So I really wanted to kind of really
Dive
dive into
deeper.
it.
And how have you found it, Donna? Like, is it giving you that level? Are you on a deeper level?
Yes, very informative. And
Good.
really enjoyed learning about the yeast.
Yeah.
They're asking for a
Something that
close-up.
you don't
Here we go, look.
necessarily think about very often.
That's about the best I can do there.
You know.
Close up of the truffles. Oh, look! I mean, they've got. How many varieties of truffles have you got up there? So it's 6 varieties. So it goes with all the drams. Heather, sorry to bother you. Would you mind bringing over the drams till we show them? So this is a tasting. This is a tasting that they're getting tonight. It's actually my tasting. But I've just let them. I've let them do it themselves.
That's why we're so noisy.
That's why they're so noisy. So thank you very much. So this is all the drams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Was there another one? The special one.
Yeah.
So the truffles have all these drams in them.
I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean.
Have they been personal? Donna? So this is the drams we've got. So we've got Finlagen, because these drams match with the different truffles. Got Finlagen, Bunnahabhain 12. We've got Big Pete. And this is a special one that was given to me by Norwegian friends, because this is a special Norwegian edition of Big Pete. So because my students are so dear to my heart, I thought that I would give them a taste of this. We've also got the Port Charlotte 10, which I love anyway. And this is the special. This is one I made earlier. I think, did I not do an Instagram post on this? So this is, we're matching this with the Kilchoman barley liqueur truffle, and this is Reichardt beer barley 2011, and I drank half of it, and then I filled the other half up with the brambles that I picked from Bridgend, from the Strath, from near Dale Farm, Old Farm, and a wee drop of sugar and honey. So normally I would leave it till about Christmas, but I thought that we could have a wee taste. You know, it's like in the...
It wasn't going to survive that long.
Well, no, but it's like today we had a brilliant afternoon with Fraser Hughes from Ardnahoe, the manager. What font of information that man is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Was it wonderful? But what was he telling us about? And I thought that this would match. Oh yes, he gave us. No, he didn't at all give us anything. We were shown the bottles of the nearly of what's happening in the distillery. So we're very excited that on the 9th of November they'll be releasing a new make.
We can edit this, right?
Oh God.
It's supposed to be a secret.
That's supposed to be a secret. It really showed us, very kindly showed us the bottles. So this is like me letting my students have a wee taste of this to see how it's maturing for Christmas. So, sorry, I've hogged this.
Not at all, no. How long have you been coming now? How many times have you done the academy now?
Well, only didn't.
This is our first time.
This is the first time.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
but the first time I traveled to Islay was in 2016.
Right, okay.
But it wasn't for the whiskey primarily. It was for the Islay Jazz Festival.
Oh, right, okay.
And then just, sponsored by Lagavulin,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And then, we fit in a distillery here and there. And I just decided to come back for a full week with no festivals going on, just to get a feel for the island itself.
Nice. I mean, it's funny because I've never done the Fagila, and I would love to come over for it one year, but I like the island when it's a bit quieter. You know, the idea of coming here when there's thousands of people here that aren't usually here, I'm kind of, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you come when it's quiet and you've got the place to yourself, you know?
Well, I did come to, I did visit during the Fèis one time, back in 2018. And it's kind of interesting, while each of the distilleries have their own separate day, other than when you're at that distillery, you don't really get the sense of there being such a crowd of people on the island.
Yeah,
unless
you don't have to go where the crowd is.
Right,
kind of thing.
so you can take a day off. You don't necessarily have to go to a particular distillery on that day, and you can go wandering, somewhere else. And one day I just didn't go to that particular distillery, and I, took the road all the way around into the Rims and
round the west,
Orkneyhaven, and up and back, and because
nobody was there.
No one was there. But it was really, it was a beautiful day as well, and it just exposed me to more of the island, and kind of made me want to come back even more. So
you came through music, stayed through whiskey, and keep coming back because you just love Islay.
I do. It's
because of the company, obviously.
Well, yes,
absolutely, yes, for the people.
That's right. It gets. I mean, I have to say, for me at least, it's something that kind of gets to your soul, and it's hard to put into words.
That's why you're a student of this academy, because that's what it's all about.
That's right.
Because it's the same thing.
Yeah. So please get someone else up here.
All right, Donna did very well.
Thank you.
Who would like to volunteer now? Who would like to volunteer? I think we need a gentleman now, because we've had too many ladies. No, never get too many ladies. No, that's true. That's true. Well, there's only three.
They're all being shy now, are they?
Are they being shy, Arnold? Are you being shy? Come and we'll give you come to the table and get a dram.
I've got a dram.
You've got a dram. So this is Arnold Bartels from the Netherlands.
Yes.
Well known to many people, I'm sure.
At Islay.
And Islay, that's right. Everybody thinks they know him in Islay.
Apparently he's a local and he didn't even know it.
Yes, that's right. So I'll let Neil ask the question.
Yeah, so what made you come to Islay, and particularly to the academy then? Have you been to Islay before, actually? No, so this is the first time. So why do it via the academy then?
Because I heard it in Holland, and there's they advertise with it, of course, and she does it well. But,
more whiskey.
Yeah, thanks. No, I got it as a sort of a present when I
Right, okay.
reached my 60th
Excellent.
birthday. And then the
With COVID.
COVID came,
Of course, yeah.
a bit of a problem because it took 2 years. But
Yeah,
now I'm
yeah.
happy to be here.
We're pleased to have you.
Yeah.
At long last.
Yeah. At last.
Excellent. And what are your thoughts so far? So, I mean, have you been enjoying it? What's any particular highlights stood out for you?
They're all highlights after each other.
Right.
And I'm really enjoying it. It's a bit difficult for me to because I'm a Dutchman. I do understand English, but my Scottish is not so.
Good. Your Scottish is better than my Dutch.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that takes a lot of attention then. But so far so good. It's all clear for me, and I can enjoy it on every aspect. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's brilliant. What dram have you got there, Arnold?
I'm not sure because
Did Heather pour it?
yeah.
Heather, what dram did? Excuse me, I beg your pardon. What dram did you pour for Arnold when? What dram?
You got all whiskeys.
No. The
We can't
first
choose.
one.
Where's Kalila?
Oh,
Kalila.
is that the still? Because she's been very good. You're still on the first one.
No, I have 2 others, but in between.
Oh, between and then we're back to it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, what other dram? What do you like? What do you like about that dram then, Arnold? What's your favourite style of whiskey that you like? Do you like a bourbon one, or do you like one with sherry, or
More sherry, yes.
prefer the
More
sherry?
sherry, yes.
So maybe you would like a dram of the Bunnahabhain next.
That's my favorite.
Right.
Bunnahabhain. Yeah.
I think that especially the 12-year-old Bunnahabhain, I think, is a phenomenal whiskey. I think,
Good price point.
in terms of sort of value for money, I don't think you get much better than that. I really don't. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
An excellent dram.
Yeah.
Oh well. If you want to finish that one, then we'll pour you another one. Or you've got another glass up there.
I got another glass
Yes.
up there.
So
Shall I get it?
yes,
Yeah.
we'll pour you a
Okay, yeah, dram in the
Bunnahabhain.
Bunnahabhain as well.
Yes.
Dave, that's you. He likes that dram as well, Arnold. Only if you come and speak. Yes, because I want to introduce you to the public. Come and sit. So,
Good evening.
good evening. This is Heather.
Nice to meet you all.
This is Heather McNeil. This is my cousin, but she's actually Mrs. Bryden. Slancher, Arnold. Thank you for
Slancher,
speaking
Arnold,
to
thank
us.
you.
Slancher. So Heather's helping us run the academy. Thank goodness somebody is.
Somebody seems to know what they're doing.
Thanks. Jelly days.
So what dram were you drumming there, Heather?
I actually had the Finlagen,
Oh,
Very
right.
nice.
and actually it was very nice. It was very smooth going over, and some of the back notes I really enjoyed. Yes, yes.
You like the peat now?
Yes.
It's and
Earlier on today at Art in the Hole, you really liked the new make,
Oh, I
didn't you?
did, and the new. Are we allowed to talk about that?
we can do Glen Burgie. Glen Burgie was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yes.
That was the 3-course meal.
That's right, yeah.
That was
And the Bamor, I must admit, the Bamor today.
Hello, how's yourself, John Lamont? Thank you for watching us. You should be here and we'd pour you another drum
Absolutely,
too. Sorry, Heather, we
Not at
hijacked
all.
your
Not at
conversation
all.
there.
And then we had the Bamor 17-year-old, and
Yes.
oh my, that was something else.
Yeah.
And I recommend anybody to try that because the taste and the whole notes and the
Quite
aroma.
elegant.
Well, it was very classic, as you said, classy. It had style and definitely worth
See, from
trying.
Bamor, you see.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah, you can take the girl out of Beaumont.
Yes, and all that.
Do you think there's anyone else that would like to come and speak to us? Okay, you asked that. Right, okay. She's organised it, everybody.
I think maybe we'll do one more.
One more
And then we
to
can-
introduce you.
Oh, Jens asks how many are attending this week?
5 students at the moment, Jens, because of COVID. We're just grateful. So we've had a very warm welcome from everybody because they're so pleased to have us back. You know, because this is the first time for 2 years we've had a diploma.
And you've been sort of limited, and you know you have to
Oh,
make sure
yes,
everybody has their own space and things like that.
We've been very good according to the COVID regulations. So normally what we do is we put everybody in the house. Come. We put everybody in lovely self-catering houses. But this year we've had to like take a lot more houses and split everybody up. But you're all, even though you're split up into different houses, you're still all bonding in the kinship.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
This is Felix Hasselmeyer from New Zealand. From New Zealand via Edinburgh. Next year you're attending. Yes, hooray. So can you please tell us what brought you? Well, that's his question.
Well,
Sorry.
what brought you to Islay then?
Whiskey.
That'll do it.
Unfortunately, I'm out of it.
What would you
Well,
like?
help yourself.
What would you like? We've had that one.
Yeah, that one.
Do you want the-
lagging? No.
Well, this is the last one. Do you want the Port Charlotte? Do you like the Port Charlotte?
I'll have one of those. Yeah, please.
So that's Port Charlotte 10.
Perfect.
What's the PP?
40.
40. I mean, what's the ABV in that? Or the
46.
50 is
46.
Yeah.
46?
Yeah.
That's it. What's that then?
Older, they used to do.
The 50 was
They've put it up to 50 now, I think.
Did they?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Oh, this will be an old one.
Aye,
that's
the
an
older
old
bottlings,
taste.
isn't it?
It's a good stuff.
Yes. Right. Neil, how's your glass? What are you?
I'm okay. I'm on the Bunnahabhain 12. I've been
yes.
sipping at that since we started. As I mentioned earlier, I just think that's a phenomenal whiskey. I love the Port Charlotte as well,
So do
though,
I, yeah.
especially the newer one in the dark green kind of bottle.
Yes.
That's
Oh, I forgot. This is
stunning.
a really old one. I
Yeah.
forgot that. See, you should have kept that. That's because I love my students so much. I share.
It's
Yeah.
good stuff. I appreciate that.
Whiskeys that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
There you go. And so, how have you been finding it then? What's kind of stood out to you so far from this week then?
The weather. It's been stunning.
Don't listen to it. Pour the rain.
No, again, we've come for the whiskey, and I mean the school's been excellent. The weather not so much, but it's all part and parcel. Stunning day on Sunday.
Right.
It's been a bit mixed, but with what we had with the sessions, the visits to the distilleries, it's just it's been a well-rounded experience. So in the mornings we had sessions, we had lectures, and I'm sure the guys have covered it in terms of learning about copper, yeast, just specific sessions. But in the afternoon, being out in the field, going to the distilleries, visiting the farm, the way they store barley. It's just
That was great. Today we did a brilliant thing. I've never done it before. It was my favourite thing.
Right, okay.
We went to the storage cathedral for Brichladi, for all their barley, where it's stored. So it's not a maltsters because it's at the farm. I've been to maltsters, but this was the farm where the wood's stored all.
Pre-maltster then, would that be?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. It was brilliant, wasn't
And I
it?
think it's great. I've done a number of whiskey courses and schools and things. It's really something that brings the theory of the real stuff together, where you actually get the context of it in terms of you can learn and read, and you're told a lot about barley, but being out and actually seeing it, and it's the same with pea cutting, being in the field and actually cutting the thing, getting wet, and it's all part and parcel. And I think that's what makes a difference.
Great, thank you. Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
So have you got a highlight? Have you got a favourite thing that it's so far? I mean, it's only Wednesday.
I know. The Islay tasting was pretty special. And again, it probably helps that the guys do have access to a whole bunch of nice casks.
Yes.
And, obviously, the manager usually knows well about the stuff, and it was a great tasting. Yeah, and being able to try some of the new make spirits as well.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say that.
No, you make's fine.
You make's fine. You make's fine.
Exactly. And that's what we did.
Yes, that's what we did. Yeah.
So no, it was great to try the difference between the heavily peated versus the
Yes,
non-peated.
no, that was
the difference equally. Yesterday at Kilchoman, we tried 3 different new makes from 3 different types of barley.
that was really
Again, I would have never thought the difference was that massive, but it
was huge.
night and day.
Yeah, night and day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So what we got tomorrow? Tomorrow we've got Jura.
Ventura. And Ardbeg on Friday.
Ardbeg on Friday, and we've got on Friday morning. Guess who's speaking to us? Our very own Ned from Waterford. It's going to be our tutor. Yes, so I'm excited about that. Ned's joining us. So I see time's moving on, and we said that we were only going to talk about things and not navel gaze.
Yes.
So we have talked about things. So I think if you got...
Well, we'll let you go back and get yourself another dram. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think just before we kind of round things off.
What one do you want? What's all of them?
Yes, everyone, please.
Okay.
Rachel, what if you maybe, before we sign off, if you maybe give people a sort of idea of what's coming up next year, the different events? Because normally, in normal times, you kind of did this maybe once a year, is that right?
Yes.
The residential course was going to be maybe once a year. So what's the plans for next year then?
Well,
all going well,
all
obviously.
all going well. So because we weren't able to host people, and because we have been, everybody not travelling, next year we're hosting 5. Yay! 5! So first tour fully booked. Better not do it that. I'll do it this way. Tour fully booked. So we've got September, October, November that you can come on. But we're doing a special thing next year, Neil.
Okay.
We're doing a private diploma.
Oh, very good.
So that's a new thing. And it's somebody's booked the whole thing.
Excellent. Okay.
So, but so we're going to start doing this now.
So if you're in maybe like a whiskey club or something like that, you can book and you can all come together at the same. Excellent.
Or your company or something.
Yeah.
So we're only taking 8 though in the private class because that they've chosen to come in August because that when it suits them. Yes, Tamara, I look forward to seeing you in March. So they've chosen it to come in August, so it'll be different. It'll be the same kind of style of academy as we do just now, the diploma course, but we will host it when it suits them, So that's a new thing. If you want to come with your guild or your club or your business, we will host private ones for you. We'll negotiate it and discuss it with you and sort it. So that we're offering that next year, and the 5.
And how would people go about that? Just message the Facebook page, or what? Yeah.
Yes, or email us. So it's info@islay-whiskyacademy.scot or Instagram page or Facebook. Anyway, just. I think we got this one through Instagram.
Right, okay.
People are. So that's our plans.
Excellent. Yeah.
So it's very exciting.
Yeah, very much. So next year's going to be busy.
Yes. So Neil will be back. Neil will be a local then.
Yeah, I'll
be
need
here
to
all
come
the
back
time.
over. Yeah, I might get a season ticket on the Calma.
Yes.
Right, so I think that's just about us. We do intend to do this again. As I mentioned earlier, hopefully this might become like a monthly stream. So we plan to do it again late November. If there's anything you guys would like to see us cover, any questions you have, anything like that, just let us know, and maybe we can bring that up on the next stream.
Yes, because we were going to do this is a different one because of the students. We wanted to do it because they were here, so this is slightly different. The next ones will be so this one was kind of about education, but it was also introducing you to the students in the diploma. But we want to do themed ones and talk about serious things. Because we're independent, We not worried about talking about politics or things that other folk might not want to talk about. We are interested in talking about that, and things that your mum said you weren't allowed to talk about at the dinner table. We want to talk about it because nobody's talking about it in relation to whiskey. I mean, obviously.
There are limits, yeah.
There are limits. There are limits.
So yeah, in the meantime, obviously, please follow the Islay Whisky Academy on Facebook and Instagram. Are you on Twitter?
We're on
and
Twitter.
on Twitter.
Yep.
You can send any comments or feedback through any of those channels, or obviously on YouTube where you watch tonight. Any comments?
And we're
anything?
making this amazing thing, that Padlet thing.
Oh yeah.
So our help with Claire is making us an amazing thing. We're going to put it in the bottom of YouTube when we organise this or something, and it's where you can post photos. It's like a notice board, an online notice board that'll engage with the show. So
yeah, and I'll show you what we're up to and different topics that are being discussed, and you guys will be able to kind of throw in your ideas. And
yes,
hopefully it should make for a better show for you guys as well as for us, So
because Gregory Mumford asked, he put in a suggestion. Brilliant, Gregory. But you put in a suggestion about a story, and I want to do that because I think that'll be wonderful. Too much noise tonight, too much going on. But in future we will do that because I think that'll be wonderful.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Oh, there's John Lamont throwing in his.
Absolutely, yes, we will do that. That's a lovely, interesting subject, John. Yep, we'll do that, and very interesting to my heart. And we could even because we got lovely pictures of the Barley Cathedral at Woods today, and Andrew's talk was just so practical and so informative. It's a side that no one sees, that no one thinks about. People think about the maltsters, they think about where it's germinating, but they never think about the holding bays when it comes off the field, how it's dealt with there before it goes. So that was phenomenally interesting. I just loved that. So
sounds great. Yeah. So I think that's us, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope to see you again. Anything else to add?
No, just Slanjava and all the best.
Slanjava. Cheers.
Good night.
Bye now.
Bye.